This is one thing my grandmother used to make. Very, very simple. It is just cucumbers and onions. I ate this all summer long growing up, but I did find out this is one controversial thing. Do you peel your cucumbers or not? This is an English cucumber. Typically I do on the English. On the other, it just depends if the skin is tough. On a regular cucumber, I also will seed it. On these, I do not. It was just funny. I was making a cucumber avocado salad, and for that one, I typically leave the skin on. And my aunt asked me what I did wrong to it. And, you know, they all grew up here in Indiana, so this isn't north, south, east, west difference. This is, they all were raised here in Indiana. But it was just funny because my grandmother always, she roughly would do this. I mean, she didn't usually use English cucumbers, so on those she would peel them. When she started using English cucumbers, she would leave them like this, as you can see, where they're not completely peeled. I didn't know there was a difference. I just know how my grandmother made things, and so to me that was the only way you made things. I'm not going to make a lot of this. It is just my husband and I. You can do this at any thickness. Typically we like them a little thin. I mean, they're pretty thin. They're not paper thin. The other thing is we never put sour cream. We never put mayonnaise in anything. With my mother and my uncle both having the egg allergy, the other side put sour cream in their cucumbers. It's very good, but when I think of cucumbers and onions, this is what I think of. Like I said, I'm not going to make very much, so I didn't need a very big container. If you watched any of my grocery hauls, you know I buy pickles a lot. And I refer to my husband as a pickle thief. So really no surprise that he'll eat this. And then I've got a half of an onion, and I'm going to half it. And now these we're going to do relatively thin. And what you're wanting is just to break the rings apart. I'm going to put a little bit of water, not very much. You can do this with apple cider, but we always have done it with white vinegar. You get a nice amount on them. Big surprise. I like them very tart. The last thing we do is just a little trace amount, maybe a teaspoon. I don't even know if I put a teaspoon of sugar in these. Salt. And pepper to taste. My grandmother used a lot of pepper. And then just mix this up. You will let it sit. Let it marinate in the vinegar. I will usually test it just to see if I got the amounts right. For the vinegar, like I said, we like the vinegar, so I probably put a full 1/4 cup. It's probably maybe 2 tablespoons of water. Really wasn't very much. You can up the water, you can up the sugar. I just always remembered she had this on the counter. Her butter was on the counter, and her cucumber salad was on the counter. It's those little memories you remember of your grandparents. And that's as easy as it takes. So this is one of those Jell-O infamous salads that I grew up eating. It's one of the few that I will actually eat. I am not a fan of Jell-O. Long story short, for some reason I was fed Jell-O water when I was a child. Not sure the point of this. Walnuts, I freeze dry. I vacuum seal mine to keep them fresh. That's why there's such a huge quantity. Crushed pineapple, vanilla, cream cheese, lime Jell-O, 7-Up, and I will also need 1 cup of boiling water. So for the 7-Up salad, you need to boil 1 cup of hot water. Now I'm going to fumble through opening everything else. I should have gone ahead and opened everything with my hands the way they are. It's going to be nice and warm this week, so the thought process is I'll have sides already made, and all I have to do is make the main protein. Give this a mix and just let it sit here and dissolve. After you do that, take your cream cheese. Back to fumbling with my hands. This is soft. I have made sure it's been sitting out. So I don't have to fight with it. Plus, the softer it is, for this, it'll dissolve in. Using my handheld right now to make things easier, and mix up the cream cheese. Oh, that sounds awful. Okay, now take the Jell-O that you've made sure is dissolved, and pour it in the cream cheese. You will also take your 7-Up. Oh, there we go. And it's 6 ounces. Now I can't, you know how this is. That measured. I typically don't put it in right this second. And 1 teaspoon vanilla extract. And then let it mix. I decided to do that without an audience so I could make a huge mess and nobody would even notice. At this point, I add the pineapple. I had issues with this too. It's supposed to be a pop-up, and it didn't. So this may be another catastrophe today. There we go. I drained it the best you can, crushed pineapple. And at this point, I add the 7-Up. And that's all there is to it. Give it another mix. Now this is one that I will pour into a pan and let sit for 24 hours. And at that point, you can eat it. Also found out my walnuts aren't any good. Note to self, freezer. They can be vacuum sealed, but I still need to put them in the freezer. So I'm using an 8x8. My mom makes it in a loaf pan, but I wanted something that I could put in the refrigerator with a lid. So that's why I'm making it in the 8x8. And pour it in there. I always make sure that everything kind of doesn't fall in the middle. It's all kind of mixed. But it'll be a nice, even in this, it's a decent size thickness. And just a nice little summer treat. So for this week, one of the sides we're gonna do is deviled eggs. And all I've done is put them in my Instapot. And I do the 4-5-5 method, which is 4 minutes under high pressure, 5-minute release, and then 5 in the ice bath. So I went ahead and cut them all up, and now I'm just mashing the centers to make it so that we can put the ingredients in. There's nothing special about this, but this is just an idea for a side item. And they taste delicious. Okay. We prefer Hellmann's. I actually don't care. My husband prefers Hellmann's. I bought Duke's just to give it a try. I don't even think he tried it. I think he is just so convinced that he likes Hellmann's that there is no other option. I'm surrounded by people with egg allergies, my mother included. So between mayonnaise and eggs, this was not something I grew up eating. This was of my husband, and this was something his mother brought to every Christmas, Thanksgiving. This and macaroni and cheese. And I got to like them because of the fact that I didn't have this. This was something I never got to have. Always put a little bit of yellow mustard. I've also done it with Dijon. I liked it. I also did it with spicy brown mustard. Really liked it. They told me I didn't make it right. I feel like in my life that's kind of how things go. We do sweet relish. The goal is to not let this get runny. And that's it. So I always do the bag trick. Just easier to get them stuffed. open the bag as much as I can, and I get it in there. Take these and I get it down in there, and so that I don't make a mess, I close the lid. Oh, I forgot these are these bags. Okay. They don't really have a accurate pour, so we're gonna try this. This may not work. May have just created too big of a, no, I ended up with double-sided. Okay, we're gonna go to the other side. Finding out things don't work is always so much fun. I'll have to rethink this. Take 2. I tried to get fancy and use one of the quart size, but they have a flat bottom in them, and that does not work. Alright. This may not be a big enough hole, or I will force it out and have too much. So, the reason I do the bag is this just makes this a little bit easier, and I don't make such a mess. But real life, things don't always work. I conservatively fill in the beginning, otherwise you get to the end and there's none left. And I kind of got almost the right amount. Go back and find 1 or 2 that need just a little bit more. And we try not to put too much pickle relish in, and you don't want to put too much of the liquid, otherwise this will be really runny and there'll be no consistency. Easy extra side item. And takes no time to make it. So for another side for the next couple of days, I'm gonna make potato salad. It's a mustard and it's sweet. Not overly, just a little bit. But it can be any type of sweet that you want, or savory. That's on you, whatever your flavors are. So, as per normal, my baked potatoes are in the Instapot. I put them in for high pressure for 20 minutes. And then when they come out, I let them cool. And I'm just gonna peel them and chop them up. So I've got all the potatoes cut up. I ended up only doing 4. I have 1 more that's already done. I may just take it for lunch tomorrow. We always put onion in ours. If you know, you know I like onion, so I put a lot of onion in everything we have. I just feel like it gives it really good flavor. this. I do a smaller dice when it's going in the potato salad. And I'm going to put that right in. Because my mom didn't do eggs when I was a kid growing up. We always did German potato salad. And I do like that. She also made a mashed potato salad, but we used sour cream and bacon. It was more like a loaded. And she served it warm. And I still to this day like it. The rest of my crew does not. So this is the one I typically make for us. So for the dressing, Hellmann's, or as I said, you know, you can use any of the ones you like. I'm kind of eyeballing it. Probably about a cup. Mustard, because that's what we like. I love vinegar. And then sweet pickle relish. I have never been a fan of the dill in this. And just mix it up. Common theme here, isn't there? Same thing as the deviled eggs. Now the trick to this, though, is about a tablespoon of sugar. And you want it to have a runnier consistency. Still too mayonnaisey for me. A little bit more. This is where you need to play with it, and you need to make it the way you like it. There we go. Only thing left I need to put in is I'm gonna mix this in, and then I will add egg. So as I just told my husband, I probably made this too mustardy. I've already added the eggs. I forgot to turn the camera back on. The only other thing I do is I salt and pepper it. It's just a combination of finding the right flavors that you like, and then making sure you put enough dressing on it, because potatoes will suck the dressing dry. And I don't like a real dry potato salad. So this will be a work in progress, and tomorrow I will, after it's all sat here and all the flavors have blended, then we'll figure out if I got it right or not.